I'm Susan Kennedy, and we're here live at the County Council building in Rockville, Maryland, where we have a packed house. We have our youth of Montgomery County here ready to engage with our elected officials, asking them questions about issues that are on their mind.
Hi, my name is Matt Post. I'm the student member of the board. I go to Sherwood High School. And my question to all of you is, do you see a future for universal pre-K in Montgomery County?
I'm going to try and make it very simple. I think that all of us up here support universal pre-K. I think that ensuring that every single child being able to start off with the same tools in their toolkit so that they can continue to be successful along their educational journey is something that we all believe in.
I am extremely worried about MS-13.
On the MS-13 issue, and I'd say gangs in general, because it's not just MS-13. My committee and Health and Human Services are looking at programs that we think involve family strengthening and that would help, particularly with the children who've been recently placed here and who feel disconnected. We understand the seriousness of the problem, and it just saddens me for you to have to be worrying about this. And it's a shame that you are.
I was wondering what kind of policy and what you're willing to implement in order to improve access to mental health.
Diseases of the brain are really no different from a disease of the shoulder or the liver or the kidney or the knee. If you have a disease of the brain, you should see a doctor, you should get treated, and you shouldn't be ashamed, and it isn't your fault. Talk to your parents. Ask your parents to help you get to a doctor, but we want to eliminate what's called stigma. That means that there's some embarrassment or shame about having a disease of the brain. There's no reason for shame.
Right now, Montgomery County just last year has brought a circuit court and a district court to Montgomery County that deals with people, that they would not be in a jail, that they would be receiving treatment. I can tell you that every member of this county council has been extremely supportive in every way, because we know that the only way that we can have a better life for everyone involved, whether it be a mental health issue or whether it be a physical health issue, judges are with us on this, that all of us need to make certain that we all are receiving the necessary treatment that we need to receive.
Our question today is relating to transportation, specifically the ride-on. And so we were just asking if you guys could kind of extend, or what's the possible, opportunities for extending those times for us to ride the bus or the metro.
Sometimes athletes usually get back from games like past 8, so sometimes their parents usually don't go to the game, so it's very inconvenient for them to find a ride home. So we would also like a little extending.
We will raise this with our Department of Transportation. These things end up costing money, of course. So let us find out how much the county would be losing by extending this service to you, and I'll get back to you with respect to that.
First off, thank you all for your reaffirmed commitment to education. Based off of previous years and upcoming years in MCPS and how our county is growing, I just wanted to know, to what degree will you guys be funding our proposed budget this year?
This council is deeply committed to funding education. We added 1,200 teachers 2 years ago and this year combined to meet the growing enrollment challenges and to respect the fact that you get one shot in high school, and if we're not there for you then it's going to have an effect on you, down the road. So we want to be as supportive as we can.
I'm from the Montgomery County Recreation Center, Excel Beyond the Bell, and we want to know what you're going to do about the activity cuts that's been planned.
I know that we're funding additional programs, particularly for youth, which this council has been a very strong advocate for. It's really hard for us because we can never do everything.
I just wanted to know what's being done to address gang recruitment in our middle and elementary schools.
It's one in which we have something called our Street Outreach Network, and Luis Cardona, who is a phenomenal advocate for our youth, has been working with not just our high school students, but expanding to our middle and elementary schools. We don't have the money to do that at every single one of our schools, but we're starting to be very strategic about the places that we put them in, because we know that gang recruitment doesn't start in high school.
We have Elisa_Latin, who has tweeted in a question for you. So we're going to have you answer that. Should Montgomery Community College be free for MCPS high school graduates.
Obviously, that is a goal that we all have. This council has every year been super committed in making sure the Montgomery College tuition is kept in check so it can be affordable for our students, that we ensure that there are supports for our students as well.
Can you tell us if there's anything you can do about bullying?
And I've been a victim of bullying since I was 4 years old.
I am kind of scared for my safety.
How are you planning to deal with bullying?
I sit in the education committee. We will definitely bring this up.
Because we have a very robust plan that's in place to protect young people like you who are being bullied and tormented in school. It is not okay, it is not acceptable, and you should not have to live with that. It is so strong for you to stand up and say this in front of your peers right now, so kudos to you for doing that, because that in itself says we're not going to tolerate this. So if you're not getting the response that you want from your teachers or from your administration, you can also mention it to them, because they're there to serve in an ancillary role to help out with things like that, and they can talk with security to make sure that they're keeping an eye and help them from that perspective.
I'm in 3rd grade. I go to Bell's Mill, and I want to study science to become a veterinarian to help animals, and I wanted to know what science programs does the county offer for kids my age?
Thank you for asking your question. Science education is an essential part of our schools, and making sure that every class, every grade level, every class has a STEM special that's adequately funded, and it's not just up to the PTA, but the school system is able to pay for the cool fun projects that go into that. The school system recognizes that it needs to do more. I think you as a student community, as a community of young people, also needs to push your parents and push your school administration to get them to do more, so that at every level there's an opportunity for you to get involved and get more accelerating down the path towards anything you want to do in that area.
I am a junior at Sherwood High School, and could you describe to me the nature of our energy programs in Montgomery County and the area, and like how we were reverting to a more clean alternatives, and like the nature of our legislation in that area?
There's a number of things. Everybody's very concerned about climate change, obviously, right? It's a huge existential threat to the planet. And as soon as President Trump came out and said that the U.S. was going to pull out of the Paris Accords, this council unanimously said we're going to comply with the Paris Accord and stay in, because we take climate change so seriously.
I was wondering if there had been any thought into possibly funding the Montgomery County Police Department to give monthly or weekly training to our officers on their body-worn camera system for our police officers. There have been too many instances where either it can be me, friends of mine, or people all over the county have been in a situation where it wasn't necessarily their fault, and police are able to turn on the camera at any moment that they choose, that they feel is necessary. But some of those moments aren't necessarily capturing the real moments that are actually happening, and it's making us look as if we're the problem.
You're the first person who's come and said that there are issues with when the cameras are turned on. And so it's important for me to know that, because I will relay this. But if you have, other friends or people you know about who've experienced this, please contact my office. Give me a sense of when and where this has happened so I can be specific, because it really helps to be able to say on this day and in this beat, the camera wasn't on or was only turned on at a certain point in an incident. We were pretty emphatic that we wanted the cameras on as soon as a contact was made.
I'm Rose Gottschalk. I'm representing the Montgomery County Junior Councils, and my question is, what will the Montgomery County Council do about the overgrowing population of schools?
We are experiencing tremendous growth in our student population. I think a lot of us believe that even if we have large schools, that what matters the most is having smaller classes. So that has been our primary focus, is we're going to have to focus on smaller class sizes even if we have big schools. We have made sure to require developers to pay their fair share, and when their housing construction will result in more kids, they have to pay to build more classroom space.
We raised taxes both to fund additional education support, and we raised the recordation tax to fund additional classroom school construction needs. It's never enough, and that's our challenge.
The most crowded schools in the county are those that have the very best reputations, the highest graduation rates, the best test scores. The school board also has a role to play here. There are schools, a lot of them, that are not over capacity in this county. But that's not our job, that's the school board's job to figure out whether the schools that are overcrowded, whether some of those families maybe could attend a school that's not as crowded, even if the perception and the image and the reputation is different. Every school in Montgomery County should be superb. We should not be satisfied by saying some schools are really good and the others, they're not so good. That we shouldn't stand for that.
I was wondering if there was any way that we could lower the voting restriction here.
We don't have the power to allow people under the age of 18 to vote for president or for Congress. That can't happen. The state defines voter qualifications in state and local elections.
It would be great for you guys to also contact the state delegates, state senators, to make sure that they know that this is something of great interest. Regardless, I would just want to make sure that everybody here, continues to be very engaged civically. This is the great thing about our democracy, is that you can definitely affect change like you guys are doing right now.
I'm 3rd grade, and I go to Lake Seneca Elementary School, and I was wondering if you could add an addition to our school.
We hear you. Know that, again, as some of my colleagues have said, we need to get the budget from the school system. The school system is the one that says these are the projects that we want to fund, and then we struggle and see whether or not we have enough money to fund them all.
Hey, we have another question that has been sent in through Twitter. What efforts have the county engaged in to combat poverty?
Our challenge is to provide a dynamic economy, to foster a healthy job climate, and to provide services to people in need, like access to health care, access to food for those who can't afford to buy it themselves. We have a lot of those services, and we have excellent staff who help to match people with services when they go to get help.
And we've heard from a number of you about issues at your schools. We've heard about the question of voting rights for younger people.
So our human resources department,
you have the power to make changes.
I invite you to come back during our budget process and tell us what is of major importance to you, to your family, to your community. I really do want to thank you for coming over, because the most important thing that you can continue to do is to give us your feedback.
So thank you all so very much for coming tonight. Hope you enjoyed it. I know we did.